Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing, my friend Dominic Antonino, joining me live here uh, in our high performance community group. How you doing, bro?
I'm great. Yourself?
Man, I'm excited about our Saturday morning conversation. I'm doing
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Always good to be here.
Hey, listen, man, we haven't done this in a couple of weeks, and I said, you
Hmm.
know what? It's cold outside.
That
I
it
mean,
is.
it's crazy cold.
Yeah,
It is crazy cold. As a matter of fact, how cold is it out there, man? 21. 21 degrees.
yeah. I think they said Friday, Monday is going to be zero.
Woo!
Yeah.
I think that's history, right? History in the making.
I don't
It's
know.
never been that.
Never
Yeah,
been
they
that
said.
cold since I've been in Texas.
Yeah, yeah. And so, hey guys, it's a Saturday morning. I wanted to have a conversation with Dominic. If you're joining us, I need you to dive in and embrace this conversation this morning. We got people checking in already. Uh, the goal here is to learn how to identify that money, man, and how to make it. And so, yeah, Dallas is 21, Cherie. Dallas is 21. What is it in Chicago? So, Chicago don't joke, though.
I think we got the same temperature as Ohio.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. Interesting. Well, guys, you're going to enjoy this conversation. Every now and again, I've been trying to make sure that I get my good friend Dominic to pop in here and just provide us with some stuff. Uh, Cherie, yes, it's really cool. Monday, the high is 14. Monday, the high is 14. That's crazy. That's crazy. If you're in the Bahamas, go ahead and tell me what's the temperature in the Bahamas.
Oh man, that's a commercial.
Okay, what's the temperature in the Bahamas?
Yeah.
All right, and so Brady is joining us this morning. What's up, Brady? Congratulations to Brady. Brady just released a new book. I am so proud of Brady Robinson, of Robinson Empowerment Group. Listen, Brady, your book, I'm looking forward to getting my copy. I was actually thinking I was going to get a copy this weekend, and now the weather. I don't know who's going to church. Who's going to church? Dominic, let's talk about money. Let's talk about 2021
All right.
and the fact that there's
Okay.
money to be made. Brady, I need you to stick close. I wish I could have sent Brady the link. Brady is diving into helping people with this as well. Brady's doing a
Hmm.
phenomenal job. Check her out. Cherie said it's 9 degrees. Okay. uh, you know,
Jesus.
and it's going. I look like it's going to go down to 6. Jesus, is that real? Is the what does the pipes do? What's the how does the pipes survive? Do y'all open up the cabinets and under the zinc? And what do you do, Dominic? You have your water leak dripping?
Yeah, we have them dripping.
Yeah,
I had the AC guy out yesterday because my compressor, the outside thing,
yeah.
it just sounded loud. It sounded like a truck engine, and he was telling me that the heat pumps that we have in Texas, they're not designed to withstand cold temperatures for a
Yeah,
long period of time.
yeah.
So perfectly, we'll be okay for the next few days.
Wow. Hey, listen, man, it's going down to 6
Yeah.
degrees. Ooh. I don't think that all of my clothes together will be enough for me to be able to handle 6 degrees, man. But guess what I did? I woke up this morning, guys. If you're watching us, I'm here with Dominic Antonino. We're going to be talking about money, making money to be exact, making money in the midst of a pandemic. But I woke up this morning. The first thing I did, Dominic, I got some firewood. I got some real thick, major firewood, and I put it in the garage because I don't want to go outside. But man, listen, I cranked up that fire this morning. It's
Hmm.
blazing right now. Had me some coffee, did some stuff. Listen, it's gonna be a good day. Listen, talk to me, man. The pandemic has disrupted everything,
Hmm.
but there's still money being made. Talk to us
Of
about
course.
the reality of the right mindset in realizing there is actually a wealth transfer happening right now,
Hmm.
and money is being made. There are a lot of people being affected by this pandemic, but the
Hmm.
creative approach to embracing this time could be very, very good for some people.
Yeah. Um, I think in any time there's money to be made. It just depends on our vision and how we see, how we see things, our perceptions. And so I think if you look through history and even study companies, there's many companies that are started in difficult times.
Yeah.
And I think anytime you're going to make money outside of, well, even on a job, it's all about meeting someone's needs. So in any challenge, in any crisis, there's a new set of needs being presented.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be agile enough and to have the vision enough to be able to see those and then step in and take advantage. I shouldn't say take advantage, but create that need, but take advantage of the opportunity.
Do you think it is small thinkers lose in these times, and big thinkers have a tendency of pivoting more? What's your thoughts on that whole thing?
I think small thinkers always lose.
Wow.
I think it's less about the situation,
Yeah,
and more about the individual, right? I mean, during great times, depending what industry you're in, it's easier to succeed.
yeah,
But it may be easier to push ahead in a trying time.
yeah.
Especially so. I'm not sure how I heard say it, but they said that people on a low income level have a survival mindset. They're just trying to survive.
Wow.
A middle income group, they're just looking to maintain.
Mhm.
But the people in the high end or the higher ends of income, they're looking for progress and how I can move ahead.
Yeah.
Those three mindsets will determine how well you do in good times or bad times. I tend to think that in bad times, there's almost more opportunity for the right individuals that can see it.
It's the ability to see, eh?
Yeah, everything is that. Look at how they talk about how people come to the U.S. from other countries, and they see the opportunities here that people that are born here don't see. Right? It's all about seeing. If you can see it, you can walk in that direction if nothing else.
I feel the same way. I mean, I'm from the Bahamas, this. In the Bahamas, there are a lot of people who, if I can get to America, there are a lot of people who come from the Bahamas who come here and don't do nothing.
Yeah.
And then there are people who go to the Bahamas and they walk on a beach, go to an island, and they say, whoa, this is what I can make here. And they become millionaires because they come, embrace something that those who are right there all along never saw. And so the reality of it is, like you said, there are some countries that have a very, very bad disadvantaged position. Don't get us wrong. We understand that. However, with the right eye, with the right vision, there is someone succeeding in every type of environment.
That's correct.
Someone learning how to bring about something others haven't tapped into.
Correct.
And we may say, you know what, well, that dude, he did this and he did that. He saw a need in the worst of situations, or countries, or cities, or pandemic or whatever, and tapped into it. Talk to us about the importance of not allowing yourself to be guilt tripped out of success, because that's what happens to some people. Some people use some type of or something is keeping me back from winning, when the reality of it is, no matter where you go or how bad it is, someone is crushing it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what you mean by guilt trip versus that. I mean, that's just, we always have excuses.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And I've said this over and over again, is you're never going to live or grow beyond your level of excuses. So there's always a reason why you don't have to try, but it's about what is your why to go forward bigger than the why to stay where you are. I think it just comes to that. I don't think it's guilt or anything. I think guilt even becomes an excuse. Why be guilty of succeeding? If you're worried about the people who aren't succeeding, well, if you succeed, you can always help them if that's what you want to do. So there's nothing to be guilty. I think it's just really an excuse.
Let's talk about, we're going to dive into money in a minute, but I want us to tap into understanding. A lot of people are afraid to talk about money. Let's go there. There's a reason why some people ain't making no money, because I still struggle with the fact of, listen, you've talked to me about, hey man, charge the price, man. Hey, raise your price. And it hasn't been a year in or year out. I have not talked the price down a little bit. after you've challenged, hey man, you know you're lowballing yourself.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? I know what it is for me, but for those who are listening, everybody needs money. But talking ourselves out of the money we should rightfully have.
It's about knowing your value. It's the same reason why a woman will stay with a dude that's no good just because she wants the company, or because she doesn't feel that she can get better.
Wow.
And so you got to know your value. There was another, it was actually a poem or something I was reading. I'm not sure what kind of writing it was. I think you actually posted it. But it's a father that's with his daughter, and he gives her a car. And says, go to the lot and see, what they give you for it. And they would give her $1,000 for it, and then he says, now take it to the pawn shop. And they said, oh, we'll only give you $100 for it. It's an old raggedy car. And he said, okay, now take it to the car show, the auto show, and they were offering her $100,000 because it was an antique and it was this and that. And it's really about knowing your value and surrounding yourself around people who do appreciate your value as well. Having said that, again, it's okay to help people it's a difference for people who don't have the ability to pay the amount for a service, and those people you can help. But I believe that people pay for what they value, and whatever that is. So, that's why I'm always encouraging, hey, it also works the other way. The people who have money, they're not going to somebody who's charging less. Look, in our company, we were doing a discounted service, and we had someone call and say, well, if it's that much money, it must not be worth it.
Wow. Explain that. Break that down. I get what you're saying, but wow, that's awesome. Go ahead. Share.
So in that, it's the same exact service, but we were providing a discount just to get our name out there. And it brought a certain level of customer that we weren't making any money. Right. I mean, they were just getting the discounted service and saying bye. They didn't care that the rest of their system was falling apart. But the people that do want to take care of their stuff and would value our service, we were underpricing for them. So they didn't view our product as being valuable enough because we underpriced it.
Wow.
That was a big lesson to me. That would
be a big lesson for everybody. I mean, a lot of people have not captured. There is an understanding to where, why is it so cheap? Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's the word too. It's cheap. Right? Is you don't want to be valued as cheap. Right? Less expensive is better than cheap. Right. I mean, so it's really knowing your value, knowing what you want, and then backing it up and providing it.
Wow. Excellent. Let's dive into this. The whole element of go big, aim for more rather than enough. How important is it for a person to make their vision big or what we would say huge? I'm a strong believer that in this pandemic there are guys who are playing big, and I wrote this down. I says you're more likely to succeed for shooting at the moon than for having realistic goals. Just that very basic. If you go as high as you can go, chances are you would have gotten yourself so much further than you would have gotten because you pushed yourself.
Yeah, I think you both of them have to be goals, right? I mean, it's just what level of goals do you have? And because you could say, I have a goal to go to the moon, versus I have a goal to go down the street. You'll probably make it down the street, but that's all you're going to do. Versus having a goal to the moon. People say, well, at least if you get to the stars, it's okay, but why not get all the way to the moon? Right. You have no chance of getting to the moon if you don't put that as your goal. I would also I would say this is that enough is never enough. Right. When you get just enough, you're just one crisis away from losing and really being crushed. You always have to have more, and you always have to push more. Now, having said that, I think you can set a goal for the moon and have short-term goals that will get you there, and that way you're not so some people, because the moon is so far out, they're intimidated by that, and it's too much to comprehend in their mind for where they are. All right, but we have to understand is on the way to the moon, you're going to become a different person as you're going. And so what intimidates you today becomes normal tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? So you may have to have that long-term goal of the moon, but then have short-term goals that allow you to focus on really what you can comprehend, and get from that goal to the next one. But if you don't have a direction of the moon, you can make short-term goals and continue going in circles. You're accomplishing those goals, but you're going in circles because you don't know where these goals are leading you to. Right?
Yeah.
So, again, I think it's an excuse. We're scared. We're scared to set out a big goal or to think big, and it is scary. Look, if you're pursuing something big, if you're going after something, you're going to have to take risks. And the bottom line, it is scary. It really is. Look, I mean, we're doing things. Look, you and I, we've walked together for some years, right? And who we were 20 years ago is not who we are today.
Right.
What we saw and what we talked about 20 years ago is not what we talk about today.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you and I were talking about this a few weeks ago. You know, the things I'm doing today, that are risky and scary, they're bigger risks.
Yeah.
They're more scary moves. And I thought 15, 20 years ago, I was making big moves.
Yeah.
You know? And,
that's the truth.
And they were big then, but today they're like, you know, I laugh at them because they're from you know, from the perspective I have today, those were small moves. Now I'm hoping that in 10 years the moves I'm making today seem small as well.
Yeah.
But right now they seem pretty large to me.
Yeah.
You know, they can be very. It's funny because the moves I'm making today, I'm just thinking this. The moves I'm making today can have the same impact and effect on my life today than the moves I made 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because where my life is, my life today is set up. I can sustain bigger hits.
Yeah.
Right. So 15 years ago, that hit back then could have bankrupted me.
Yeah.
Because my life was at such a low level.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the things I'm doing can still bankrupt me.
Yeah.
But they're much bigger.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Because the what I've established in my life, and this is I'm not bragging, so please don't, because look, I sometimes I feel like I live on the edge. I'm
Yeah.
one grade, you know, but by the grace of God we make it, you know.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep plowing forward. You've got to be able to manage fear. I'm not talking about making silly risks or you know, you have to be able to analyze that risk and be able to insulate that risk as much as possible. But you eventually have to be willing to make the step. Otherwise, you'll never progress any further. And I think the farther you go towards your goal and your dreams, the biggest thing that you have to manage is your courage and your fear, being able to continue to move. Again, not making stupid mistakes, you know, but you've got to take the risk.
I like that you've got to take the risk. If you're watching us right now, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. For those of you here in our high performance group, I want to remind you. I mean, the idea that there is so much more. Dominic, we've been conditioned to think small, and sometimes even what we think is big right among our circle is still small in another circle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it's super introductory in another circle. It's almost hobby-like.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, I've been pushing this whole idea, Ricardo. You know, when I push the idea of my vision being big, then what I found out is the steps that I take is bigger. I want you to talk about that because 20 years ago, you would not have made us bigger steps.
Yeah.
The steps you're making today are so much bigger than the steps you made in times past. And as you mentioned, hopefully our goal is in the years to come, we would have noticed that we made bigger steps to acquire bigger parts of the pie, because there's a pie and the sizes of how it's being distributed is changing every day.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's all right. Maybe I liken it to this. When you're a child, All right, when you're a baby and you take your first steps, they're very small.
Yeah.
Right, and as you grow, your steps become bigger because your legs become longer.
Yeah.
Right, and then when you're a full adult, you have very long legs, or as long as they're going to be.
Yeah.
So your steps, your stride is naturally longer, so you're able to cover more ground quicker.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because you've grown to a place where your stride has become natural.
Yes.
Right, and it's the same in our life. So the steps that we're taking when we're beginning out tend to be smaller because that's our natural stride. That's what we can handle. That's the level of risk we can handle. That's the level of our thinking, what we can see, all that. But as you grow and you develop, these muscles, I guess you'd say, of achievement, you're able to naturally take longer strides and bigger steps, right? And you've created the building. You've created the ability really to make those steps. When you have a 500 credit score, you only could take so many steps when it comes to a business loan.
Yeah.
But when you have an 800 credit score, you can step out there a lot longer.
Yeah.
When you're making $2,000 a month, there's you could only make such, your step could only be so much.
Yeah.
But when you're making, $10, $15, $20,000 a month, your steps can become longer because the systems of your life can support a bigger step, right? It's just natural. And I'm not saying that to demean someone at different levels. We're explaining the growth, right? So, when Ricardo and I first met, I was a security guard making $10 an hour in a building, working the night shift, falling asleep at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, right? And then starting a church,
Yeah.
and a little storefront that was probably about 1,000 square feet in a town of 3,500. There's small steps I can take.
Yeah.
I only can afford a $600 rent at that time, and God blessed and put some things there as far as material stuff. But I was also, I was purchasing vehicles at one point and fixing them up with a friend and selling them until we found out that we only could do so much before we had to get a license. But those are the level of steps that I can take at that time.
Yeah.
Fast forward to here, where we're living now, it's a much different place, and the steps are much larger now. I think I took to me, a leap this year or last year. To me, it wasn't just a step; it was a leap. But to other people, they would laugh at it. They would be like, "That's a crawl," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, it was a leap.
Yeah.
But compared to what I was and how we did operate, I couldn't even do that. I would have, that was an airplane trip compared to to the steps I was taking. So yeah,
go ahead.
No, that's it.
No, so let's talk about this. When this whole element of you deciding to go bigger, now your thinking has to be bigger.
Yeah.
Because even though you decide to take the leap, aiming for more doesn't just occur. The mindset has to come to match the more that you're desiring from that.
Yeah.
So the heart is, I want to do something grand, but now I have to also make sure that the mindset that I have
can sustain it. Yeah, and understand that 20 years ago I had the same vision. I still wanted to do big things. It's just it seemed very far away. As close as it seemed very far away, right? And so I think when I say analyzing risk, I think you have to look at what you can sustain, not just you, but also your systems around you, your family, your income levels, those type things, and your level of thinking needs to be in line. You're never going to be there, but you can be ready to be there, right? So because you're gonna learn through the process and become who you need to be. Yeah. I think when we take steps, we're probably really about 50 to 75% who we need to be to make it, but along the way we become who we really need to be. And so we're never really fully there, but you have to be able to have the mind. Taking a step is one thing, but sustaining it You've got to be able to you've got to be able to have the skill sets, the mindsets. I'll tell you, the biggest thing that you really need is you have to have the mind to continue when it doesn't look like you can make it.
Wow.
And each level of that it's a bigger challenge. You know, and it's funny. I look at all the steps I've made, and when I'm saying all the steps I've made, I'm not saying this in a braggadocious way. I'm certainly not anywhere where I want to be in life, but I'm just trying to be transparent. I'm using my experiences. It is the way I'm responding to the challenges today is the exact same way I responded to them before. You get out there and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? How can I get out of this? Is there any way I can go back? And then you get to a point where you realize I can't go back. And you got to keep going forward. And so, you know, it's that fear factor again. And you've got to be able to sustain the pressure at that level. And if you're too far out there, you're not going to be able to sustain the pressure. You're not. And it's going to crush you. And so, you know, there's that balance. Again, not an excuse, but you got to have a balance of knowing what can I realistically sustain and then go a little bit beyond that. I'll say this as well, and this is a shameless plug, I guess you say. These people are already part of your network. Is you're going to go places you can't see, and you're going to go places that you won't know how to perform, and that's where you need a coach, someone that can see what you don't see, right? And that's the value of a coach, a mentor, someone that. You know, you're going in a direction, you're ready to sustain it, but you know it's going to be difficult, and there's going to be some things that you really don't know. That's where you get coaches and mentors that can help guide you through that process and push you a little bit, but also create the information that you need to adjust your mind through those. Because, again, you're going to get disoriented.
Yeah.
You know, you know, Mike Tyson says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. You know. That's like pursuing dreams and success. You get out there, you know, no one enters into a dream thinking, okay, I'm going to jump out here and fail. You know, no, we have these ideas of success and all that, but it's extremely rare that happens. You know, what normally happens is you get out there, you get punched in the face, you know, and you keep getting punched in the face. And when you get disoriented, you need someone to help you reorient yourself so that you can remember what you're doing, why you're doing it, and to push forward. And so, you know, I think, again, that's where coaches and mentors are someone that can help you negotiate those times when you can't really see yourself.
Yeah. That is so good, Dominic. Let's talk about this in our last couple of minutes. That there's money to be made. You're dreaming big, but it's going to cost you something.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that there's money to be made and there's an investment that has to be paid. There's an investment that has to be paid. There's money to be made. Talk to us.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think everyone has greatness inside of them. But to reach that, it takes a sacrifice. And it really, the biggest sacrifice is yourself. You know, the greater the goal, the greater the achievement, the greater the purpose, the greater the sacrifice is going to be. And you have to sacrifice yourself, your time, your energy, your mind. You've got to sacrifice a little bit of your family. You got to sacrifice a little bit of your friendships. You got to sacrifice money. You just got to put risks out there. You got to sacrifice it. And I think it's extremely important is when you're making those sacrifices, you're preparing each one of those areas for it and getting their agreement, right? So you step out there and you having to sacrifice and make sacrifices in your family that your family wasn't agreeable to, it's going to put undue pressure on you. You know, so in everything that you're going to do, it's going to require some level of investment. Nothing is going to happen for free. Otherwise, it's not, you know, now we're back to the value. You know, the free stuff is not worth it. You know, trash is free. Garbage is free. But if you want something nice, you got to pay money for it, you know. So you got to know what you're willing to invest and what those around you and those things that you're responsible for are willing to invest. And then, you know, and that's where the risk comes in. You know, there's a level of investment of everything, but just don't look at it as money. I mean, money is an investment, but your time, your emotions, your visions, your attention, your family, everything around you becomes a level of investment.
Let's talk about the reality of, as everything around us, it comes down to an investment.
Hmm.
But someone is wanting to do something big.
Hmm.
We're in a pandemic, and there are some people who just don't think there's any money moving.
Yeah,
Money is moving. Talk to us about,
yeah. I,
there is money moving.
I think there's more money moving now than there was before.
Yeah,
Again, in every crisis there's opportunity, right? So in 2008, the real estate crash, and and people were losing their houses, and real estate prices tanked. Um, but in the years following, there was a lot of money moving because people that were in the right position were buying those
yeah,
houses,
yeah,
and now they've made a lot of money on it. There's still going on today.
yeah,
Um, but there's money all around us. If with the government lending, right? So the SBA in the U.S., they have a program now that you can get an SBA loan. Now you got to qualify for the loan, but if you get the loan, they're going to make your first six payments for you, right? So you have 6 months of payments free from the government. And they're not even moving them; they're paying the payment for you. So your loan is going down. Now I just found out that there's because we did that. I just found out that there's extra money that they may make additional 3 months payments. So now I got to call our lender to say, hey, how do I get a part of that?
yeah,
So I have 9 months of free payments, to
yeah,
start a business. There's opportunities like that, and
yeah,
and I know you have an international audience, so I would encourage them to look at what's around them and what programs are out there. But I think the most successful people learn how to take advantage of all of that. These systems are put in place. They're really not put in place for the person that's on the lower end of the spectrum.
yeah,
They're put in place for people to continue to get wealthy,
yeah.
and you have to be able to jump in and see that. Um, you know, the government will give you money to help people, for you to teach people how to get jobs. I
Yeah.
mean, there's just so much out there, but
Yeah.
again, we've got to see it and go after it. But it comes back to that investment. Are we
Yeah.
willing to invest it and take that chance?
There is money. There is money to be made.
Mhm.
And this morning, I wanted you to wake up realizing if you ain't making that money, then you need to evaluate and assess where you are in relations to what is it that you said you want. And we're in the second month of this year, and with all that's moving and so forth, people are like, oh my goodness, I heard one lady, Dominic, who says this has already been a messed up year. What do you mean this is already? You're in the second month of the year. Are you canceling the year that early?
Yeah,
And really, what it is it's finding things on the external to make a good, perfect excuse to lean on for the entire year. That's really what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Because the reality of it is, someone is going to do extremely well, and let's move beyond someone. A lot of people are going to do extremely well this year in
yeah,
the midst of all that will happen this year. Those who are watching, those who are in this high performance community, have just to decide, I'm going to be one of those people who are going to do well. Now,
yeah,
what is it that I have to do different to get me to where I need to go?
yeah,
As we get this conversation come to an end, challenge our viewing audience not to be afraid to go after the money, because I
yeah.
think we're still struggling. I know I'm learning how to scale up, move to the new phases of development that I'm needing to take my business,
Hmm.
and there are others that are coming up. But the truth is, there are mindsets, there are patterns and traditional viewpoints that is holding some people back, and you got
Yeah.
to break past those things.
Yeah, I think is knowing that enough is never enough.
Yeah,
It's not about greed. It's about accomplishment. It's about being blessed to be a blessing. What you do with your money really defines a lot of those questions that we have in our head. But having the money is not the question. Um, we don't have to be rich, but why not be rich? Right? Because if you are rich, you can help people who are not, if that's what you desire to be. So I think some of those excuses we need to get rid of. The other thing is don't get comfortable in your success.
yeah,
Because especially if you have a job, we'll get into a job and we'll make more money than we ever have and feel like I made it, but you have no control over that, right?
yeah,
That job can shut down and you're back to zero.
yeah,
So you always have to be looking at, how do I push forward? How do I move
yeah,
forward? And understand why. I think that's the key thing, is you got to understand why you need to push forward. And it's not just for you, it's for those you're responsible to. it's extremely important to know your why and what you do. Your why gives you permission and it gives you reason. Uh, and mindsets are mindsets. Be willing to confront those. Consider what's stopping me from moving forward. And sometimes those reasons are valid. Sometimes I think I've taken too much of a risk. Sometimes I have taken too much of a risk. Um, but here I am still today. So, and so are you. This is a high performance group. You guys are doing big things in your life. Just think of how much more you can do and how much more how much more you can be, and then what you can do in that scenario. Um, there's opportunities around us, and it's just up to us to take advantage of those, to move in those, and to be the best us that we can be. Right? Yeah. Nobody can beat you being you. You're the best you. Just be a better you. And, become more. So.
Nobody can beat you being you. At the end of the day, listen, you're going to need some money to fulfill your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, to take your family where you're desiring to go. Don't be afraid to address the money issue, the money challenge, the money mindset. Listen, guys, there is more. There is more. There's always more. And then you have to just learn how to manage yourself and get yourself to a healthy place where you know you and what it is you really want. What is it that you really want? And then ask yourself, am I settling or am I where I really belong? And should I just learn how to maximize where I'm at so that everything else can be coming to where I'm at? At the end of the day, it's all about producing where you're supposed to be producing. The Bible says this. He says, herein is how my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit. We're fruit producers. We're high performers. Do what you got to do. If you have not gotten my book, Effective Living, guys, got to get the book, okay? It's a difference maker, practical guide. As a matter of fact, Dominic, I was telling someone the other day, I said, I think it's important just sometimes you go back in a book and what have I not applied? What have I not applied? Because if you said it was a good book, then the question is, what have I applied to allow this book to transform my life? So go ahead and do that. Dominic, closing thought, make the money, do it big. Don't be afraid. Renew your mind. It's all yours. You've been given the time. Tell our viewing audience your closing thoughts and we'll be out.
I would say keep in mind that before COVID, no one was concerned about masks. Now we have mask manufacturers everywhere. People are in their house sewing masks and selling masks. There is always opportunity in crisis. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Ooh, never let a good crisis go away. Go ahead and write that down because obviously we're in a global pandemic and someone is going to come out of this thing on top. A lot of people are going to do well this year. Be one of them. See you guys again another Saturday morning, same time, around the same time with Dominic Antonino. Bro, it's always good to have you. Thanks, again, man, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.